Hey, what's up guys? It's Roy. I'm working on the game R-01 and I thought I would make a new video to show you guys my latest progress, pretty much. I spent the last couple weeks, I guess, working on optimizations. Cubes used to take between 12 and 16 bytes, or actually probably more. I'd say a cube with all faces shown was probably a good 20-24 bytes. Now I got them down to 2 bytes each. Beforehand, I was storing everything from their position, their position in the world, to what faces were visible, to the type of the cube they are, to their ID in the pool, which I'll talk about that in a little bit. Now I was able to change their positions so that way all cube positions are stored in the dictionary key where they reside, so there's no need to store them in the cube themselves. All their faces are stored inside of a single byte, and all on their type is stored inside of a byte. The only downside is I can only have 256 types, but on the other hand, it's not hard to change that to a short or something like that, and then I'll have 30-something thousand types. But anyway, what I did is I created these little beacons here. As you can see, I can delete, add cubes. I built a little bridge up in the mountains, so I thought we'd walk up that way and I could kind of talk about what I've done, show the latest progress. So each beacon kind of has this like step-like feature here. We can walk up to it, and then they'll all have some arrow pointing to the next beacon, which is somewhere out there in the distance. So we'll just walk towards that way. So like I said, the first major thing I did was reduce the size of the cubes. That really reduced my memory footprint. And right now in areas like this beach here, it doesn't make that much of a difference, primarily because there's not that many cubes, about 90,000 cubes that we're using. It's going to make a big difference when we get up more so in the mountains, and those areas we use a lot of cubes because the mountains have a lot of terrain to them. The other big difference that I did was an object pool. When you have games, or when you write games, speed is obviously one of the most important things in the game. And one of the things that can really slow you down is when you're constantly creating objects and then using them and then deleting them. It's just really expensive because you're essentially telling the computer, hey, I need this block of memory for this object. You're creating the object, and then you're using it throughout the whole game. And then once you're done with it, say for this example, when I unload a chunk, I'm done with the cubes. I'm telling the computer, here, take this memory back. I don't need it anymore. Anyway, that's really expensive. And so one of the ways you can get around that is called an object pool. And the best way to describe an object pool is think of it as just a pool of water, right? You have a pool and you start off totally blank. That's when the game first starts. There's nothing in the pool. And you want some water, so you go to the pool and there's nothing in there. So you have to go to the faucet. And so in this case, we're creating our objects in the beginning of the game because there's nothing in the pool, right? Well, say I get to the point of the world where I'm unloading a chunk, and this chunk happens to have 4,000 cubes in it. Normally, if I was done with it, I would tell the computer, take the memory back, I don't need it. Or in the case of your water, you would just dump it out on the ground, you're done with it, no need for it. Well, now what we're doing is, you see that marker is guiding me this way, so I'm going to start walking this way. Now what we're doing is, we're going back to the pool, and we're dumping our water in there. So now when I need a new object, I'm checking the pool and I'm saying, hey, do you have any water in yours? The pool's saying, yes, I do. I'm taking from the pool. And to get more technical and away from analogies, I'm never really that good at anyway. Basically, I'm putting cubes back into the pool. I'm marking them as free. Whenever I need a new cube, the first thing I do is check in the pool and see if there are any free cubes. If there are, I'm just taking those. It's a lot easier to take an already existing object, and by easier I actually mean quicker and cheaper. Than it is to create a brand new one. So that's my overly complicated explanation of the pool. If you want to see an example of it working, if you look on the top of the screen, you see on the second line there's a number. It reads 87,844 Charlie. That number is the amount of cubes that I've currently allocated in the entire game. Right next to it you'll see a little slash, and there's a 5,000. Well, now it's down to, I'll let it do its thing, 4,621. That number is the amount of cubes that I currently have free. So you see that constantly changing because I'm constantly dipping in and out of the pool. I'm constantly taking cubes, releasing them, and that could be anything from unloading chunks to loading chunks to even when I add in create cubes. Let me get that to stop for a second. I can show you. So I'm going to take this cube away here. You see that 5, 4, 4, 5, 4, 8. Actually, did it go up and down? I have no idea. There, I took a cube away from it because I wanted to add a cube to the game. I'm going to give that cube back. See, it goes back up. Take it away. Then you get the basic gist. So I'm taking in and out of the pool instead of creating a brand new cube every time. Now, when you first start the game, without a doubt, you're taking cubes constantly, primarily because there's nothing allocated in memory yet. The same thing goes for when you start going into higher terrains. Higher terrains use a lot more cubes, probably because you have, I mean, look at the little rolling hills that we have going here. If you remember when we were at the beach, it was pretty flat, pretty low, but there weren't as many cubes that we needed to show. So that change right there, I did the same thing for chunks. They're also in the pool. Those changes right there really helped with my memory footprint in the game. Between those and drastically cutting the amount of memories cubes have, the game's taken, I think, for the equivalent of what Minecraft would consider far, it takes me about 350 megs. Which isn't, I mean, it sounds like a lot. And the next biggest thing in that, the reason it's so high is primarily because of my vertex buffers as well. And that's actually going to be the next change. That one will come along the lines of this. You see right now for what's a relatively flat area here, I'm using a lot of triangles to draw it, right? There's no reason that you can't save on those triangles and start combining them. And so what I'm going to do next is write a script that will combine all the triangles. I'm going to start flying here. So that way I'm not drawing as many triangles for areas that don't need it. Right now, out of that 350 megs that I mentioned earlier, vertex buffers are about 180 megs. So if I can cut that down, I mean that would be a huge memory saver. As you can see, I started flying because I got tired of walking. I'm just kind of following these beacons here. Now, what started off as a beach, we're now getting into more really hilly areas, to the point where I would say even mountainy areas. There's the next beacon there. Remember, I created all these beacons. They weren't generated by the game. I was playing around earlier. That's kind of the cool thing of the game now, is I can go in and just explore. It generates interesting enough terrain for me to be able to do that. This is a cool little overhang. And so that's what my last few weeks have been. I've learned a lot in XNA. I've been repeated constantly to me is not to trust the garbage collection. And so that's why I've been focusing on instantiating as few objects as possible. There's the next beacon over there. This is a cool little mountainy terrain here. If you look in the description, I've also put up a really primitive website. The ironic thing is I've done websites for the majority of my life. This gaming stuff is new to me, and my website looks absolutely terrible. So I have to apologize for those that do go to it. If you want to sign up, I set up a bunch of forums. I have a couple people testing for me right now, and if I do want more testers, and so if you guys sign up, I can get you on there, and hopefully I can get more people testing the game for me. Because the more hardware I have running it, the better off I am. And plus, I don't always notice bugs, whereas my testers have given me a nice amount to play with. So we're at the top of one of the mountains here. Pretty cool terrain. The draw distance that I have here is what Minecraft considers normal. I could draw on far, but my computer isn't the best. The nice thing is that I know if it works on my computer, it's going to work on your computers. But I'm recording and the app's in debug mode, so it's not going to run fast. So normal's good enough for me here. So I'm just going to we're almost at the bridge. I'd say maybe another beacon. There's one more beacon there. One thing I'm going to change in the game is, notice when I walk up to a cube, it stops me. And that's because I've collided with this cube right here, right? So one thing I'm going to change is, when you go up to a single cube, it'll let you walk right over. In the same way you can walk down them with no problem, you'll be able to walk over a single one. Double ones, of like this height right here, will not let you walk over them. Those you'll have to jump. Just because it's annoying to have to keep pressing the jump on just to get over these terrains. I think the bridge is coming up here. Somewhere. Oh, there's another beacon. Yeah, let's just keep walking there. Next on my list, after I get all this optimization stuff, the triangle thing done, all that jazz, I'm gonna focus on adding plants and animals to the game. And by adding plants and animals, I actually mean I'm going to focus on adding mod support to let people add plants and animals. And the reason I've decided to do that is I've learned from the Minecraft community that the community does a lot more, or it can make a lot more than an individual developer can. Hey, there's my bridge. And so by making mod support from the very beginning to add these things, all I have to do is bundle a set of plants and animals with the actual game, all going through the mod API. And then you guys can all add as much as you want, all using the API, and it'll all be dandy. So here's my bridge. Here's a bridge. I built this all on my own. Obviously the game did not generate this. I was pretty much exploring the mountains. I wanted to get from one side to the other, and I got tired of jumping up and down, so I thought it'd be cool to build a bridge. Oh, I don't know, I thought I found something. So it's pretty neat. Spans from one end, from one little mountain range to another. It's nothing fancy. Obviously we've all seen all the awesome stuff done in Minecraft. To me, it's significant only because it's the first structure I've ever built in this game. I built like little ridiculous little tiny huts and houses or whatever, but you know, they don't really count. This is an actual bridge, which is pretty cool. Oh, one thing I did add is creeping. So I see I'm pressing the button, it'll slow me down, it won't let me walk over the edge. That's a very handy feature in Minecraft, and it let me build this bridge too. And so that's it really. Check the description of the video. I'll have a link to the website and to my blog as always, where I get even more technical. And sign up, and maybe I can get some testers going. Alright, thank you guys for listening. I'll see you later. Peace.